I often like to start these videos with some spiritual premises that they're based on. They're my truth that I'm making, and then you can decide if that's true for you. But I just want to own that this isn't the truth. This is like based on my truth. It's based on these two spiritual premises. The first is that we have this old pattern, this old belief system, this way of seeing things that we were conditioned to have. Usually starts when we were very young, and then it got reinforced. And so we have this old belief system, and there's often fears that are based on those old beliefs. And that can usually have a pretty large control over our life. So that's pretty standard. I'm sure many of you have looked at your old beliefs and your fears and that. The second premise is that when we're not consciously choosing what we do and how we move through life, our default is going to be that old belief system. Okay, so if we're not aware of something, chances are our old belief system, we're on automatic pilot governed by our old belief system. Okay, and even when we're aware of something, but not making a conscious choice, not acting on that awareness, we're often going to be influenced and controlled by that old belief system to some extent. Okay, so then there's this value in making conscious choice. Okay, and I want to focus in on like a particular part of this. We start unconscious, then we become aware of an issue. I'll use an example of having misguided compassion in relationships, or whatever, enabling or caretaking in relationships. So if that's a pattern, then I can become aware that I have this tendency that part of my beliefs and part of my old pattern is to have misguided compassion in relationships. Now I'm aware of it, and now I can even start seeing myself do it, right? It's like, oh wow, I'm doing it again. Oh shit, I did it again. And this time I didn't do it. That's good. So when and then the way we break that is by making conscious choices. We see it, the awareness brings it to the point so we get a choice. That's the value of doing, coaching or reading books or journaling or self-inquiry or working with it, doing therapy is like it brings the awareness so we get a choice. Until we're aware, we don't even have a choice. We're just going to automatically have our old pattern. Now that we have some awareness, we get a choice. And I want to focus on this stage when we have the awareness, but we're a little shy or afraid of making a choice. Because to really be free, my premise is, to really be free, we've got to make the choice and almost like own the choice. Not almost, but we got to own the choice and say, I chose that. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what I chose. And it can be kind of scary making a different choice, a different type of choice than we've made our whole lives, right? We've had this pattern. We've always chose this. And then we've always enabled people. And then it's like, then I'm aware. It's like, shoot, I have to stop enabling people. Then it's the point where we're aware of it in the present. And it's like, wow, I could choose to not enable this person. But I got to pull the trigger, right? I got to do it. And that's the phase I want to talk about. That can be very scary. Of course, there's the fear that we'll make the wrong choice, or that we won't do it right, or that we're going to do it and it's going to hurt somebody else's feelings, which may be true. And that might not even be a reason not to choose it, or it's going to, we're going to do damage to the relationship. Our mind, and which is maybe patterned by our old belief system still, is going to tell us that terrible things may happen if we make this different choice. Perhaps, maybe not, hopefully not, but I'm just preparing. Part of my job is to say this could happen, and so it takes a lot of courage to make that choice and to own it and just saying, I'm choosing to say no to this person, and it just is like, oh my gosh, that's scary. Will she still like me? Will she, whatever? Who knows what will happen? I'm going into unknown territory. It's scary. Okay. And I'm going to say that there's value in making this choice, even if it ends up being the wrong choice. Okay. Even if I don't do it perfectly, which I'm probably not because I'm not used to doing it. But once I own the choice and saying, okay, I choose this, I'm choosing to say no and own the choice. It's like, yep, I'm choosing to say no. And let's see what happens. And I accept responsibility for the consequences. If I say no and it ends up causing damage, I own that. But I need to know. I've said yes my whole life. I'm saying no. And I'm gonna own that. Own it to God. Own it to your friends. Like, yep, Spirit, I'm choosing to say no. And let's see what happens. When you can do that, then I'm consciously choosing, and then I can start learning. Okay, I can say, okay, I said no. I said no. I said it kind of harshly this time. Maybe next time I'll say no, but I'll be a little more gentle. It's like, oh, okay. Now I was a little too gentle. I talk about the Goldilocks, too hard, too soft, just right. It's like, and that doesn't really happen until we start owning our choices and we do the radical choice of choosing something different than we've done before. And and that's where things really start changing. Then I start getting a body. It's like an experiment. It's trial and error. I start getting a body, and then I get better at the choices. Okay, because I'm owning them, I'm learning from them, and I don't beat myself up when they're not perfect. It's like, this is an experiment. I'm going to try saying no, and I'm going to see what happens, you know? And it's like, oh, it's pretty scary. It's like, oh, and they didn't like when I said no. They were pretty mad at me. Okay, well, that's okay. Let's see how that works. And then, how am I saying no? And is it, and then once we start doing it more, we get better at it. We start getting a feel for it. After we do it, say 10 times, we start getting a feel for saying no. It's less awkward, it's less scary, it becomes more natural. And what's more natural for us, of course, it's more natural for the person we're saying no to. It's like, no, I don't think so. And they're like, oh, okay. Once my energy about it isn't like so scary and like, oh my gosh, I'm saying no, and guilt ridden and all that, then it becomes more natural for the person I'm saying no to. It's not a big deal to me. It might not be a big deal to them, or maybe it will be a big deal to them, but then that's about them, right? So anyway, that's what I wanted to kind of, encourage you. If this resonates with you, encourage you to start owning your choices more strongly. And that's where we do that with our Native American ceremony. Sometimes when we enter the sweat lodge, we do vision quests, we enter, it's like my teacher would say, like, who goes here? And we do this still on retreats, like, who goes here? It's like, this is Mike. It's like, why do you come to ceremony? It's like, because I want to get right with myself. Okay, enter the lodge. It's like, it's kind of this strict chain, this strict ceremony that's like teaching us to own. It's like, yes, I'm here, and this is why I'm here, and I'm entering for this reason. I'm making a choice. I'm making a choice. I'm doing this. Okay, and and it's like, yes, God, Spirit, the universe, I'm saying no to this person. Could get a little weird, be with me in my choice. This is what I'm doing. I'm figuring this out. So be with me. So I say no, and then I can start learning. And there's so much power. And then we're getting, one thing's for sure, we're getting something different than our behavioral pattern. It's now live. I'm now, for the first time perhaps, determining the fate of my life. I'm choosing. If I make a mistake, I think there's an expression. If I make a mistake, the mistake's mine. At least I made it. It didn't happen to me unconsciously. And life stops feeling, first of all, that it is happening to you. Okay, when decisions are made unconsciously, we don't feel like we're making them. So then it feels like things outside of us are making the choice. Well, we made the choice. We made an unconscious choice because no choice is making a choice. We got our behavioral pattern, then something happened to us. So there's a tendency to have this kind of victim consciousness, like life, it feels like life is happening to me. Versus if I own my choice, I am choosing and I'm choosing what happens. And now I'm making choices and I'm determining the fate of my life. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And it's like, so if I make a mistake, it's my mistake. At least I chose it and I had the courage to own it. It's like, okay, I made a mistake. It hurt someone's feelings. I won't do that again, at least in that same way. I'm going to try something else next time. So much freedom takes a lot of courage, and make sure you have some support and find people that can support your ability to make choices, which usually means they're willing to make choices. If they're not willing to make choices, they're going to tell you, you're crazy, dude. You're totally crazy for making that choice. That's not the support we want. That's why we do sharing circles and dream groups and retreats where you're surrounding you with people that can support your ability to choose new things. So that's what I suggest. And summertime, of course, is the perfect time to do this. You got all the energy to make new choices. So anyway, that is my video for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy your week and I hope you are enjoying your summer. And yeah, my challenge or invitation is to start owning your choices a little bit and just saying, no, I don't think so. Or yes, I want to do this, and just saying, yes, I chose that, and to own it and see what happens. I will see you in a week.